Okay.
All right. Welcome back, fellow TFFL owners, to your weekly TFFL webcast. It is it's Wednesday this week, Wednesday, November 25th, Thanksgiving Eve. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We are looking back at week 11, looking ahead now to week 12 action. We got lots of playoff scenarios to talk about, lots of trade deadline deals to talk about, action-packed webcast ahead. Let's get to our panel intros. Starting with let's start with our IT director, Hank, doing a nice job setting us up from Wilmington, North Carolina.
It's always a little dicey with the remote broadcasts. I don't have my computer. I'm using an iPad to do this. And, for the most part, one audio issue, it's working. We're here.
Nice job.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Good work.
And Berto, High Command from Jack's Giant Killers. Welcome.
Stick, how are you?
Good. So you're still pursuing a playoff spot. We'll talk about that.
Yes, not quite as excited as last week, but still enthusiastic.
Not jazzed up.
Not jazzed up.
And our commissioner, Rick, welcome.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy
I took
Thanksgiving.
the day off today, so I feel well relaxed and ready to enter the long weekend, which is quite grand. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
We need to see Han Solo behind you.
Yeah, so you've got two things to show us. Han Solo.
Yes, our newest guest, and now hopefully forevermore, we have Han Solo here in Carbonite, who, as many in the TFFL know, has been making his way for close to 3 decades now. We're getting close to 3 decades now, from Virtual Emporium all the way up to IBM's facilities. And now since COVID and being home 9 months, I've created a new office. And part of that was that we were bringing Han home from the IBM office. So I had to build a location for him. And this is my new office where Han Solo will reside. And
Just call it what it is, Borkman. You built a shrine for Han.
I built a shrine for Han Solo. I did. And it's phenomenal. So this is what everyone sees at work and across IBM and all our partners and the rest of it. When I'm on my WebEx meetings and whatnot, they see Han Solo. It's a nice talking piece for sure. It's already gotten quite the adoration from afar from many IBMers globally. So that's exciting. And number two, to celebrate Thanksgiving, we went long and deep to find the rabbit hole. The rabbit hole bourbon here is Cave Hill Kentucky Straight Bourbon. Was recommended from a friend of a friend, and it's pretty awesome. So it's not easy to find, but if you can get your hands on it, it's got a cool bottle and it tastes really good. It's rather smooth. So cheers, everyone, to Rabbit Hole, to Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
I hope everyone's well.
All right, let's get to it. I think I've got a trivia question here. Let me see what I can make of this.
Wait, a lot of points tonight. Chief is not here.
Oh, that's right.
All right, I've got 3 trivia questions for you tonight.
Oh boy, that's a lot. You got a lot going on.
So the NOCO West is kind of a disaster this year. Kind of like Fats told me today. We're kind of like the NFC East.
That's how I felt. We are the NFC. We are the NFC East of the TFFL. There's no question.
And while there's still, a small hope that maybe the Aliens will win the division with a winning record, in all likelihood, somebody with a losing record is going to win our division this year. So, tell me first off what the worst ever winning record for a division is. Give me the exact record. And I'll give you 3 points for that. And I'll give you a hint, which it's not 6 and 7. Question 2: Which team had that worst ever division winning record? I'll give you 3 more points for that. And how many times over this is our 24th season, so we've had 23 modern era regular seasons completed. How many times in those 23 modern era regular seasons have we had a division winner that did not have a winning record?
So wait, so how many times in
Wait, yeah, you're gonna have
20 years times 4? So how many out of 80?
92 to be exact.
I'm sorry, 92. So how many out of 92 times?
Yeah.
92 times what?
We have 92 division winners. How many of those had losing records?
A
Losing record.
Non-winning records.
Winning record.
Non-winning records.
Non-winning records.
I have to just write this down to think about it.
So wait, what was the second? What was the second part again?
Who
the
was it?
The
Which
team-
franchise had that? Was the answer to question 1? Which franchise had the worst ever division winning record?
Okay.
That was 3 points. Question 1 was what was that actual record? Get that right. 3 points. And if you can get within 2 of the correct answer for number 3, I'll give you 3 more points.
And I'm
Repeat
sorry.
3.
3 is how many teams in our 23-year history have won their division with a non-winning record.
All right. Got it.
All right.
All right, I'm not even thinking about these things. I don't know, so I've got
It's-
guesses.
There are some interesting answers, but yeah, they may be tough to get. Rich, our commissioner's report, 2 weeks to go in your first season as commissioner.
Before the playoffs, we still got the playoffs.
Yep.
The first regular season, only 2 weeks away from being done. I think the major bits this week is that we do have a COVID game to contend with. The Steelers and Baltimore game has been moved to Sunday right now, so it's not off. But if you have players in Sunday's game, I'm sorry, in that game that's been moved now,
Yep.
It actually becomes more like a normal Sunday game. But because it's going to be at night, because there still could be a question to play, folks should put in COVID picks. If there is a COVID pick that you are making on a team that's playing on Thanksgiving, if you would like somebody on one of those teams as your backup, you need to put that in tomorrow. Otherwise, there won't be another game till Sunday, and then 11:45 on Sunday is when I would expect people to submit their COVID picks as alternatives to someone who may not play due to a COVID situation. Make sense?
Yeah. Can I ask one quick question? I have not done this yet. So
Yes.
if the Baltimore-Pittsburgh games ends up getting totally screwed up, and I have Justin Tucker in as my kicker, can I just automatically insert my backup kicker on my roster into
Yes,
that?
you may.
So that-
That's the first option. Your
Do I need
first
to
option
notify
is
you of
that I will play whoever kicker number 2 is
Okay.
in place. I am playing Tucker, right?
Yep.
And Tucker should go
Yes.
into your lineup.
He's
Okay.
in. Yep.
And then you would send a note to the TFFL FAIR COVID thing, and you just say, my backup is my second kicker. For some reason, Baltimore's not playing.
But I should
Make
send
sense?
that. I do need to send that email. And if
You
I
do. You
don't
need to send
it-
that email.
All right.
Yeah, it's
All right.
not automatically assumed that that's going to happen, even though I would say that we would reconcile that would be an obvious thing if you missed it. Okay.
That's right. I'm
So-
writing myself a note to send an email.
File the paper.
And then everybody make a note to send an email. The second thing is that the trading deadline has now passed. I think that there was a flurry of action coming in at the end of the season here, at the end of the trading period, which was pretty exciting. You saw very clearly some people looking to get some picks or maybe some young talent that they think might blossom. While that talent may not have blossomed quite yet, for some teams making a playoff run, they're willing to give it away, maybe to get some talent that's producing right now. You know, you look at something like a Lockett for Judy sort of trade that went on. That's a perfect example of that. I think there was a lot of other discussion going on. Some people trying to get a deal, other people, you know, holding on to their stuff and you know, going back and forth relative to where they were. And your temper for willing to pay for something based on your record and based on where you are and your prosper or your prospects for winning in the playoffs, right? So, in any case, it was an interesting close. There was plenty of action and activity for the commissioner to deal with on com.com and the Essential Doc, but all went well, and I think there were some good moves made for all, and I think most people ended up pretty happy.
So Rich was one of those 4 teams then, huh, Berta?
Oh, Rich was definitely one of those 4
Yeah.
teams.
We we talked right before the deadline. I mean, we were texting back and forth at 5:58, and we didn't hammer anything out.
Nope.
All
Didn't
right.
work anything out. But we were active with, personally speaking, we were active with the Fats. We were active with a number of different folks talking it up. In the end, we're happy where we are.
Hank, I don't know if you've got any sort of standings for us. Are you scribbling something down?
I'm trying to do it right now very quickly, but I'll
So I
just
can keep going if you want. Give you more time.
Yeah,
No,
I was hoping Berkman would ramble a lot.
I'm actually let me defer to Berto here, because really what the standings are going to do is lead into a playoff scenario discussion.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
If you guys have got it figured out, take it away.
Look, I'll turn it over to Berto. Look, as we discussed last week, the Senators and the AMPAC have already clinched the conference titles. They have won their divisions. And then it comes down to the Aliens and Lizards, basically. And I think the Fats are now eliminated, I think.
Are they really?
Well, they're 3-8. They got a 2-game deficiency to the Aliens. But now if the division title goes through it can't go through the Fats because they're 0-2 in the division. So they already are down a tiebreaker to both of you.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's a scenario unless crazy things happen.
So what if Stick loses 2 games?
Yep.
I split my games, but Fats beats me in the last game.
Then you win.
You already beat Fats.
You'd have the division title. You'd have the best division record in that scenario.
But what?
Yeah,
All right. So what if I
3-1.
lose both games and you lose both games?
That's the scenario.
And then Fats ends up beating me, and we're tied.
Then we have a 3-way tie.
But then Berkman wins because he'd have the best division record.
No. Actually, Berkman would be 4-9 in that scenario. There is a chance where the Fats and the Aliens could be tied at 5-8.
I have it.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead. Wait. Yeah, this is all meaningless because Berto has the breakdown of what's possible.
Now, I can't. I was scribbling this down from about 8:30 to 9, so I cannot say that this is 100%, but I think I've got it pretty good. All right, so here we go. AMPAC no-code champs have locked up the number 2 seed and $500. Number 2 seed. Okay, keep that in your head. Killers. All right, so we need to win both of our games, and the Sponge need to lose both of their games, and that we have the tiebreaker over the Sponge, regardless of what the Devils or Mongols do. Okay, keep that in your head. All right, so then if we go to the NOCO West, let me just pull up this again here. All right, if we go to the NOCO West, the Aliens win 2 games and they take the NOCO West. We know that. Aliens win 1 game and the Lizards win 2 games. They're both at 6 and 7, right? But that would give the Lizards the division by virtue of head-to-head. Okay, because the Lizards would have beaten the Aliens twice.
Yep.
With you so far. If the Aliens lose 2, the Lizards win 1, and the Fats win 2, which is possible based upon the schedule, the division would go to the Lizards by virtue of a 3-1 division record.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Correct.
Yes.
All right. Can you repeat that? That is
Yeah.
the Fats win 2, I split, and the Aliens lose 2.
Yes. So the Aliens lose 2, the Lizards win 1, and the Fats win 2, and you're all 5 and 8.
Yes.
You have the division, Rich.
Got it. Okay.
So the
So
Fats are
5 and 8, you would win it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
which eliminates the Fats. There's no
The Fats
scenario-
are eliminated. They can't. The Fats cannot make the playoffs.
Wait a minute. What if the Fats go 5 and 8, the Lizards go 4 and 9, and the Aliens go 5 and 8?
That
Then
was,
you win. Fats are already 0-3 in the division.
Yeah, they're eliminated because they would.
Yeah, but doesn't the head-to-head go first? Oh, yeah, that would be split because you
Yeah.
beat them once.
It'd be split,
Okay.
and then you go to
head to
division.
head and then division?
Okay, so the Fats are out then.
Right,
Yep.
Fats are out.
All right.
Got it.
Okay.
And that's the rules. It goes head-to-head, then division, and then it would go points after that?
Head-to-head
It goes
points.
for the division title, it goes head to head, division record, head to head points.
Thank you
Okay.
for clarifying for the audience.
Yes. All right. So then we go to the SoCo East.
That's fascinating, by the way. Just before you leave the NOCO West,
Yep.
I mean that it's going to come right down to the last game.
No. Flip it around a little bit, Berto, because I think Rich, you had it wrong in the commissioner's report. If the
I was stating outwardly that what I was rambling and I was not confident in anything I was writing, but I was taking a sort of gander at it.
I think just as it was in week 11, if the aliens win in week 12 over the Fats and you lose in week 12, then it's over. It doesn't matter what happens in week 13.
Oh, okay, good. There you go. Well, not good. I don't want that to happen, but that's fine. I get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right. So I need you to lose to the Fats, and I need to win this week.
Right.
Or I need to lose, you need to lose.
Right.
And then I still have a chance.
Right. Which is the way it's been going in our division.
Yeah, seriously, exciting stuff. All right. Yeah,
Okay.
I screwed myself this year.
You're injured.
Yeah. So that is the NOCO West. Okay. Then the SoCo East, all right, is a little complicated as well. So the Mongols win 2, they clinch, right?
Yep.
We know that. Mongols beat the Killers, which are playing them this week, but lose to the Devils.
Hank, you got to back up that candy opening. It's
Huh? Oh, sorry.
Your opening of candy is really loud.
I'm sorry. It's in
Mongols win 2, they clinch. Mongols beat the Killers, but lose to the Devils, and the Devils beat the Wheels, effectively the Devils being 2-0. The Devils will win the division by better head-to-head.
The Devils already lost to the Wheels.
No. Oh,
I beat the Devils last week.
hold on.
Gets complicated.
And by
Whoever the Devils play. And
whoever the Devils are playing in week, let's see who that is.
It's you, isn't it?
No. Beavers. I'm sorry. All right. So if the Mongols beat the Killers but lose to the Devils, and the Devils beat the Mongols but lose to the Beavers, the Devils win both games. The Devils win the division by better head-to-head. Okay? So Devils go 2-0. Mongols go 1-1. The Devils win the division. The Mongols at 7-6 can get the wild card with a killer loss, and the Hams losing 2 games. Okay, so I didn't realize that the Hams didn't clinch yet. I thought the Hams had clinched.
Me too. I took that I just took that for granted, that was a given based on the dialogue going on earlier.
The Devils cannot make the wild card based upon their tiebreakers, though.
Okay.
They need to win the division.
So that means the Sponge and the Hams are still fighting it out.
Yes. They win, they're in. All right. So now we get to the SoCo West. All right. So we know the Senators have clinched the #1 overall and the Marley Trophy.
Congratulations, Senators.
Yep.
Good job, Sens.
So that's by virtue of a Week 5 victory over the Ampac that was a 41-34 game, by the way.
Yeah.
In Week 5. The Hams clinch a wild card with a win or 2 Sponge losses or a Mongols win.
Okay.
All right.
Who did the Mongols play this week again? It was the Killers play you. Got it. They play the Killers. Got it.
The Sponge clinched the wild card with a win. They're in. Or a Killers loss. I think that's all right, but I'm not 100%.
Woo!
We're going to figure it out in the next 2 weeks here.
Amazingly enough, we will.
Well done. All right.
Yeah, that's a lot of action.
Okay, we'll be back. We'll do this all over again next week. Some things.
Just as an aside, as we're looking at standings, and I apologize for not having it in stone. The battle for the #1 pick comes down to I did win last week, which was not a good move in my quest to get the #1 pick. However, I still have the inside track. If I lose 2, I get it.
Yep.
If I am to win a game, then I believe the Boba Fats and the Beavers are the other two teams who will have a chance to get it. And I believe the Beavers beat the Fats, if I'm not mistaken on that. I think I looked. So the Fats would then be in the second position to be able to get that pick. So we'll see. There's a battle, but I have the inside track. And so, Berto, it's going to come down to week 13. You're going to need to win to make the playoffs. I'm going to need to lose to get the number 1 pick, and I'm going to beat you. Get ready.
And it's fascinating. Like where I sit as well, I can go either way. If I lose out and you guys win a game, I could end up with the number 1 pick.
There's a way. Yeah, there is a way that you can get there.
Or I could make the playoffs. 2 weeks is going to mean everything. I can go number 1 pick. I can go to the playoffs.
Yeah, I haven't done all the math on this yet, but I think the Aliens may be in contention for the number 1 overall pick too, because the K-Wheels beat the Aliens. I actually have a reverse tiebreaker.
You need me to win both. You got to lose, and you need the Fats to lose or Fats to win.
Who's modeling up this board for this week?
It's a little confusing. We're going to know a lot more after this week.
Crazy algorithms going on right there.
That's why, Rich, I was so intent in our negotiations about what I wanted on that.
Yeah, I bet. Because it could go either way. It's true.
All right, so
you know what we should have thought of, Berto? We should have thought of some conditional stuff. If we had worked in some of the conditional stuff, we might have gotten there.
Michael gave me a pretty long conditional trade on something that took me several reads to process, but we didn't like doing it. But that was an interesting one, I'll say that.
All right, let's move on to our other big topic, which 5, if I counted it right, 5 trades we had heading down the stretch here, and let's give a lot of credit to the TFFL media trade market reporter Berto, who first off projected 5 trades last week. We had 5 trades. He did not exactly call the 5 trades exactly as they came out, but nonetheless.
No.
And the big story that came out of the webcast and out of Berto's trade forecast last week was the sense that the Boba Fats were going to be the team doing a lot of dealing. Again, we didn't get the players quite right. Berto was forecasting trades of Kelsey and Gurley, and instead it was a lot of other guys. But we get 4 trades involving the Boba Fett. So we nailed that. Berto,
I do think there was a lot of discussion around. Chris Carson was a topic. I believe Kelsey was probably a topic by people. I think the people that were, that we projected last week were hot discussion points, but nothing got consummated.
Yeah, Gurley was out there as well.
Let's go through these kind of one by one real quick, and why don't we start with the big one, or the one I think is the big one? Senators, Fats, Lockett, and Gage going to the Senators. Juju Smith-Schuster, Jerry Jeudy, a lot of J's going to the Boba Fats. Senators getting the guy who's kind of a stud right now in Lockett. Fats maybe getting the biggest upside guy here in Jerry Jeudy. Rich, you as commissioner are usually pretty impartial in saying, congratulations on your trade. I've logged it. You actually jumped in real quick on this one and rendered a verdict. Why don't you take the first one?
I did. My feeling was that I thought the Fats got the better end of that deal.
Totally
I think that I felt like, and again, it goes to what you just pointed out. I think Kramer was trading short-term production to make his run for, the longer-term value that Fats sees prospect in, relative. And let's be honest, Juju Smith has not been all that this year. So I can understand why he would let him go. It doesn't mean he's not a bad player, but this year he's, for whatever reason or another, he's not hitting on all cylinders. So letting him go, and giving the prospect to Jeudy for Lockett now, and then who knows? I mean, Gage, either way. But in my eyes, I think short term and long term, Kramer would have been just fine doing nothing. and playing with Judy and Juju Smith. So we'll see what happens, on the field, and if that serves him well short term, Kramer. But I think in the end, the Fats got the better end of this deal.
Go
Go
for
ahead,
it, Paul. You go.
I'll jump in. Kramer was shopping this package of receivers, and so I was first of all surprised to hear that he was ready to move both of these guys, because I think they're both young guys with a lot of upside.
Oh yeah, he wanted Thomas, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. And he wanted DK Metcalf from me, and I shot it down immediately.
As did I with Thomas.
Yeah. So the fact that he had made up his mind that he was ready to trade these two guys to get a piece that can help him win this year. He's all in for this year right now.
I don't blame him.
So
yeah.
If Tyler Lockett has a great week 12 through 16 and scores 5 touchdowns and 100 yards every game, Kramer wins the Pac Bowl. This is a great trade. If that does not happen and Lockett doesn't do much and becomes somebody that Kramer has to consider keeping or not, this may end up coming to bite him back in 2 or 3 years, like we said. Because if Judy is a stud and Smith-Schuster finds his legs again, those are 2 really good young players that you'd like to have. So,
right,
all in for the Senators, and you got to applaud that to some extent.
Yeah. I think it's a numbers game. So Krames has been shopping Juju for a while. He didn't have to give up a pick, which is nice.
Yep.
And I think Kramer looks at it that, well, I'm not going to keep these guys anyway. He can't. So it's either trade them now and get this guy who's probably right now for the rest of the season the best guy. And, his sole focus should be on week 15 and 16 right now, winning a Pac Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So without having to give up a pick and, trading a couple guys that he can't keep anyway, most likely looking at his keeper list, maybe you can make an argument for one of them, certainly not both. So from that standpoint, it's not a bad trade. You know what? The other thing though is, Tyler Lockett doesn't have great matchups the week 15 and 16. It's a small little thing. They're playing Washington and the Rams, which,
That's not that bad.
it's not horrible, but it's not great. At the end of the day, that's the only, you probably found the only trading partner that would do that type of trade where you didn't have to give up a pick, because no other team is probably going to do that. So, that's what he got, and Lockett's a good player.
And he also offsets Russell Wilson, who I'm sure the Senators think they might see down the line.
Yep. And the other thing too is Krames, he didn't really need. I mean, you always need running back help, right? And we talked about the random guys who were in Pac Bowl games, who were week 15 games, so we won't go through that again. But you look at this running back core. Wayne Gallman's playing well. I mean, he could be a guy who's up there, and then he's got Hunt and Kamara.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be slightly concerned about Hunt with Chubb back, although Hunt, has gotten in the end zone anyway.
Plenty of carries.
So, and he's got Edwards-Helaire. So, he didn't feel like he needed to pay a lot to get a running back, or even pay anything to get any sort of a running back, because he feels like he has enough depth. So his thought was, what's the best wide receiver that I can get without having to give up too much? But on the other hand, you could say that he didn't do enough. That would be my only criticism of the sentence, that he didn't go out and make a much bigger move and package those guys or somebody else to get a true stud, if he could have. But then that begs the question, who is that big stud? I don't know. Travis Kelce? Could you have thrown even more at the Fats to pry Kelce away from him and then slot Kelce in as your third wide receiver? Maybe.
Yeah. Rich?
No, I was just going to say, I think those are spot on, both of you, Phil and Berto. I think that Berto was just talking about there in terms of going for greatness. A lot of the moves that were made were what I said in there. It was like the B players, right? Like people were moving most B players, the third or fourth guys on the roster, some backups, some sure ups, if you will. It wasn't the marquee name. There was no marquee name out there in a trade that went down. Kelsey would have been it. I think that would have been one of them to go after. And that's probably the guy I personally would have been willing to pay most for that was available out there, even more than Carson. I think that Kelsey just, is that much more reliable from the standpoint of weekly scoring, if you will, right? Health, weekly scoring, etc. But I didn't see that marquee thing happen.
There were attempts to make marquee things happen. There were offers for marquee things. And
but they weren't good enough offers. That was the key.
I had a really, really good offer for Derrick Henry that maybe a year from now I will regret not taking. We'll see. But no, I decided I'm not trading Derrick Henry because I'm winning the Pac Bowl next year, and he's going to be a part of that. So
right on.
Listen, I agree. I think, long term, the Fats get the better of this deal in the sense that Judy does have more upside. Judy will be a keeper for the Fats, probably would have been a keeper for the Senators. Juju Smith-Schuster is a different question. Even as a Steelers fan, I don't pretend that he's a definite, maybe not even a 50-50 shot as a keeper next year. And you go looking at the stats here, and my first instinct is, maybe Kramer overreacted to the injuries that Judy seems to be battling all of a sudden. Is this a 1 week move? You go look at the game logs for these two players, and you know what? Week in and week out, Judy and Lockett are very similar in their numbers. But I think you dig a little deeper, and here's where I really like this trade for the Senators. Tyler Lockett has 2 monster games this year. And it's easy to say, oh, he's got 2 monster games and all the rest is kind of pedestrian. But he's got 2 3-touchdown games. One of those games was a 200-yard 3-touchdown game. He has got that potential more so than Travis Kelce does, more so than Jerry Jeudy does. He's got the potential to do that again once or twice down the stretch in that Seattle offense. And that's the kind of performance that's going to win you playoff games. I'd like this move for this year for the Senators.
I mean, Lockett was a lot cheaper than Kelce would have been, but I think Kelce has a better chance. Even if you were to ask me who has a better chance of scoring 2 TDs in a game, it's Kelce for me. But
yeah.
All right, let's move on to another trade. Sticking with the theme of the Fats, sticking with the theme of the SoCo West, Cooper Kupp going to the Sponge for a first-round pick. I think Keelan Cole was involved in this deal as well, but essentially Kupp for a first-rounder. Lot of trade activity with the SoCo West. How do you view Kupp versus Lockett?
It's expensive, very expensive, and I don't know. I don't like this. I don't love this for the Sponge because you got Adams, Julio, and assuming Adam Thielen is fine to go, and comes off of COVID, my assumption is he will. Then why not kind of shore up the second, or third running back? And I'm sure Chief went after Kelce as well. We did talk a little bit about, and I don't want to give away too much, but we had a slight conversation about Waller, right? But that didn't go anywhere. So I would have thought that maybe would have gotten somebody who could be that third running back, and he's pretty strong. Again, assuming health, he's got some injury concerns there, but assuming health, which, I maybe would have gone in a different direction for a number one, right? So he gave up a lot for a guy that I don't think Kupp was worth the number one. Let me put it that way. So that's my final piece on that.
I'll echo a lot of what Berto said. I thought that price tag was really high for Cooper Kupp. Okay, if that's then maybe I got really underpaid for Robert Woods, who I would rather have than Cooper Kupp. But okay, we'll see how that works out. And I mean, obviously, it's again another push to try and make it happen this year. Applaud that, but that's pretty pricey for me.
Maybe Chief is onto a new TFFL strategy, the hoarding good wide receiver strategy.
Maybe.
Veering away from the hoarding running back strategy. He's going to have 4 really good receivers. I'm not discounting that Kupp isn't a good player. I don't. It doesn't seem like a move that slots in very easily to his lineup unless there's an injury. Yeah.
I think he must have been trying to counter the Jared Goff trade. That's it. That's what it was. So he's willing to pay extra since Kramer got Goff as a backup with the injury to I guess maybe Kramer got a little skittish. Isn't Murray a little dinged up? So he took Goff as the backup, and I'm going way deep here. This is a total conspiracy theory. I think he overpaid. I think that Kupp's not worth that. A 2 would have been easy for me. Yeah. But sure. Even in one of the talks that I was having around trade, somebody brought that up. I was like, well, yeah, that was a clear overpayment. Eye of the beholder, I suppose. Right? So is what it is.
I mean, he picked him up. He picked up Goff because Drew Brees is out more than I think.
Right. And Murray's dinged up.
Yeah, Murray's dinged up. But it's more about not having a backup.
That's his backup. Let's move on to that trade real quick. It's not a significant one in that Goff, in theory, is just a backup for the Senators. But again, Boba Fett's involved, Soko West involved here. Fat sending Jared Goff to the Senators, Kerryon Johnson back to the Boba Fett. I think it was Hank that came out in support of Kerryon Johnson here. My take on this was the Fats got nothing of value for a player that offers some sort of value to a title contending team. The Senators gave up nothing. I mean, Kerryon Johnson is not a keeper with DeAndre Swift on the line.
No, he's not.
Well, unless he gets traded to another team and becomes a starter. He's not a bad player. He might be in the wrong system. I have no idea. You may be right. But the bottom line is I generally agree with you. I don't find Kerryon of great value.
Yeah,
probably not.
Maybe
not. I mean, I don't know. It just seems it seems that you're moving running backs to get not much is expensive. But maybe you're right. Maybe Kerryon is not worth it.
I was just looking up to see if Kerryon Johnson was a free agent next year. He's not.
No.
Juju is play, which I think there's going back to that one for a second. Yeah. Juju is a free agent next year, which I think getting him out of Pittsburgh, I think is probably good for him. But anyway, Kerryon, I thought maybe he was a free agent next year. He's not. He's a free agent in 2022. So I thought maybe that was part of it, but it's not.
Yeah.
All right. Boba Fett, again, trading with the AMPAC this time, giving up Alexander Madison, who will be a handcuff to Dalvin Cook on the AMPAC. The AMPAC sending back essentially Rashad Perriman and a 5th-round pick, not a big price. What I thought was interesting here was Madison was a keeper for the Pats. And just a quick aside, for all the crap the aliens got about keeping Tony Pollard, Madison was the same type of player, a clear backup to a stud running back who didn't have a chance of having a lot of value unless Cook got injured. And the Pats have traded him away. They're not going to keep him again next year.
Maybe I'm wrong on this, but I think Alexander Madison is at least 3 years younger than Tony Pollard, just in that sense. And Madison, I don't think has had enough of a sample size to know what he really is yet. He might be, decent, and it was. I mean, I'm not sure if it was the 1st round, but he was drafted reasonably high. It seems like you're giving away a decent lottery ticket for not much return, a 5th-round pick. I mean, who cares about Rashard Perriman? I mean, but a 5th-round pick for Madison, that seems like not much of a return. Good for Ralph though, getting the backup, of course. So I give a clear win to the Packers on that one.
And so you just go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I don't know there's a win or lose there, right? Meaning, Fats is getting rid of something he's not going to keep. So I guess the value could be discussed to a degree, but I don't see much of an issue whether win or lose on that one.
To me, this one is a win, and simply because he got a pick versus the carry-on trade, which is a little he didn't get a pick, right? So that one so when he's sitting down and looking at his keeper list, if he's going 7 deep, or 8, let's say, and Madison was the 9th guy, then it makes sense. But if he's the 7th or 8th borderline guy, then it doesn't make sense. So, but when he looked at his keeper list, and I didn't look at it yet, he determined that Madison was on the outs and he wasn't a keeper, so therefore it does make sense.
And
but you could make the argument that Madison probably may have more value than Kerryon Johnson. So
yeah, I would say that I would rather have Madison than Kerryon Johnson.
And I think you guys are hitting on a key point here, and I know in some brief conversations with Rob today that the Boba Fats are already I don't want to say questioning themselves, but they made 4 trades here. They gave up keeper wide receiver in Cooper Kupp. They gave up, a keeper running back this year in Alexander Madison that may have been a better keeper than Kerryon Johnson. And did they go too far, make too many trades in a hurry here? We'll have to dive into their keeper list at some other time and see if they've got 7 good, strong guys left.
I think they will, but we'll see. I think they got aggressive here at the end when they realized that they should try and get whatever they can. The guys are not going to keep. Story TBD yet as to how good this end run was, but I totally get where Fats is going, and I largely applaud his efforts in doing what he did here at the end.
So I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole. I just quickly looked at and you said we look at his keeper list later, but we can do it right now. Herbert, Gurley, Taylor, T. Higgins, and Kelsey. That's 5.
Oh my God.
And then 6 and 7 is a bit of a question mark. Then
Juju,
Judy, Jalen Reagor, and Goddard. I'd put on there too. So that's
no,
5.
he's not going to keep Goddard.
It's going to be the 2 receivers you just picked up. It's going to
So
be
that's
Juju
9. So if you cross Goddard out,
he'll try to trade one of them away. One of those receivers he'll try to trade away.
So then
Whoever
it's
he doesn't keep.
Reagor, Juju, and Judy. Or
unless Reagor ends up with somebody who's going to throw to him, then I don't know why you'd keep him.
A little gratuitous Carson Wentz jab there.
It's warranted though. Carson Wentz needs to show it right now.
He's looked terrible.
He's looked so bad.
I don't think he's the Eagles quarterback next year.
They're paying him a fortune. They're paying him so much money.
Yeah,
I mean,
they made a bad move. Look at all the money they paid friggin',
yeah,
all the rest of them, right?
I don't know what the buyout number on him is high. I think
he's gonna get one more season to take or swim, or probably not even a season. It's a certain amount of games next year before something happens.
Yeah. He needs to get it together right now. But if he does and gets them into the playoffs and then has a little bit of action in the playoffs, they're going to go into next season feeling great about him.
So just going back to this. So if we cross out Reagor, which I think you're probably right, so then it's Herbert, Gurley, Taylor, T. Higgins, Kelsey, Juju, Judy.
I didn't want it to be funnier. I did not want to be
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so sure that Gurley is going to be on the Falcons next year.
Gurley's borderline.
Well, I think barring any trades, he has to keep him.
I'd rather have.
I'm just saying, I don't, whether he could end up keeping Reagor and getting rid of him or making a trade for another running back if Gurley hangs him up, or who knows.
Yeah, I took a look at Gurley, and I told Rob this. What scared me off was, and this shouldn't be a surprise, we know Gurley is winding down. You go look at his yards per carry over the last 6 games, and it's
3.3 or less.
2.4, 2.6, he still scores touchdowns, yes. It's fair
He's
to
touchdown dependent, though. He's touchdown dependent in an offense that is playing from behind and has to throw most of the time.
that at some point may want to turn more to Brian Hill, who has looked good in limited opportunities this year.
I don't think he's the answer either, but
I don't think
they'll
so.
draft somebody.
Right. Is Gurley
trade.
a stud keeper next year? I don't think so. I bet you the Falcons have got other plans next year.
He'll be ranked like 25, 30 next year.
No.
Especially from a dynasty perspective. Yeah. No, I don't see that.
All right. We had one more trade. Let me just wrap this up here because there is an interesting footnote here. The Hams getting running back Salvon Ahmed from the Giant Killers for a 5th-round pick. Hank's shaking his head a little bit. Essentially, Berto traded got a priority pick from Hank for what did you give up for that, Berto?
8th in 2022. Is that it?
Something like that. An 8th.
So he jumped 3 picks in a year.
Yeah.
For a guy.
For
so
what that's
it's just again, and I even said it when I said, hey, I'm trying to turn over a new leaf. I made a trade with Berto, but it says this is why, and I'm demonstrating.
You don't trade with Berto. You got fucked.
Do not trade with Berto. I give him an innocuous priority pick, and he turns it into a 3-round pick better trade than I made. I mean, I guess my bad. I should have known. I should just take Ahmed and then trade him to the highest bidder. That would be a better move.
Yes, you should have. That's playing fantasy football, Hank.
Take him, whatever. So Berto, I'm done.
No.
I'm done. And I knew it.
Come on, we had glass notes.
No, Berto,
door open.
Look yourself in the mirror and understand.
It lasted 1 week.
I opened my heart a little bit to you. I opened it a crack, and you shoved it right back up my ass. You're done. It's over. Done.
That was worth bringing up that trade. Good.
Absolutely.
It's a minor little trade. It's a minor little thing that, I'm going to look at that 8th-round pick and I might just trade it away so it's not even part of my team and in my culture because I tried to think, maybe, I've been too much of a jerk to Berto over the years and our rivalry is blah, blah, blah. Berto, you suck. You suck, and the Killers are bad. And I really, really will enjoy seeing you lose here as you miss the playoffs this year. So, go screw yourself.
All right, so the openness is shut.
No, that was pretty open. He was pretty open right there.
I'm being very direct.
That was very authentic.
Yeah.
All right.
Very direct, yeah.
Let me give you 3 trivia answers.
Okay. I really struggled on this one.
All right. So the worst ever division winning record was 5-7-1.
Yes.
Hank nailed that for 3 points.
Wow. Well done.
5-6-2. What the fuck was I thinking? I totally forgot about 5-7-1.
We should almost subtract a point from you for that. The Beavers were the team that had that record. In
the Devils, huh?
2009.
I had the Devils too.
Now, 4 times in our 23-year history.
Got it.
I'm within 2.
And Rich is
within 2. I'm within 2.
There you go. All 3 of you are winners there.
Wait, don't I get 3 points and they get 1?
Yeah.
What did I say? Sure.
Okay.
I don't know. Rewind the tape. I don't know if that's valid. I need as many points as I can get here.
So Hank's going to get 3 points for nailing the 5-7-1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody got anything for the Beavers.
Mm-mm.
Berto's going to get 3 points for nailing 4 seasons.
4 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys will each get another point for being within.
Okay, so Hank gets 4.
I get 1.
3, and Bertrand gets
0.
Okay.
I don't know why I didn't contemplate 5-7-1.
Hey, I got within 1. Isn't that worth 2 points if you're within 1? I think that's what you said, Stick.
All right, fine. I'll give you. Bertrand gets 2 points for being closer.
There you go. Sure.
I like it.
This will be the 5th time in our league history, presumably, that we have a division winner with a non-winning record. All right, Rich, schedule
5-7-1. I didn't even think of that. 5-7-1.
That was my first inkling.
That's so smart. That's so smart to throw in the tie. Didn't even think of that. All right, well done. Good question, Stick. I like the 3-tier question. That was fun.
You can ask this question later, Stick, but there's only a couple of years where we've had 2 tie teams. I know one year I did it. I was 8-3-2 one year, I remember, but it's been a while.
All right.
Rich, tell us
So-
who.
All right. What we got ahead for the week, gentlemen? We have the game of the week, the Sens and the Sponge. I like that matchup. That's a good one for the game of the week. Is Cup going to make it in the lineup? He wasn't in there quite yet. I mean, the trade's fresh, but he's not in the lineup right now, last I looked. So we'll see what happens. I thought the Aliens Fats made for an interesting game based on all the scenarios of the proverbial NFC East of the TFFL. So that's a big matchup there. You know, it's going to mean something either way, and I'll be rooting for the Fats, I guess. Can the Aliens hold on? We'll see. Hams and Lizards. Believe it or not, everyone, all high on the Hams right now. The Lizards are favored right now. That might be because he hasn't gotten his lineup straight. Who knows? The Lizards are hanging on by a thread. We're putting our best out there that we possibly can. We tried to make some trades, but we weren't going to break the bank for it. So we're running with what we got, and we'll see where the cookies crumble. But I think that's a pretty good matchup too. It's meaningful for maybe both teams. I thought the Hams had clinched, so maybe since they didn't, this is more meaningful than I assumed. Mongols and Killers, another really solid game. If the Killers are going to make a run and win those two, they're going to start with the Mongols right here. Yeah, and it's big for the Mongols to cement the division for them. Beavers and Devils, I don't think that's meaningful much at all. I don't know that the Devils – do the Devils have a chance still? Did we talk about that?
Yeah, but it's an outside chance. They do have a chance at the title.
They have a chance. They actually they're 5-6, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
All right.
Correct.
So are they going to finish with a winning record or not? A lot will tell here. And don't sleep on the Beavers. They almost snuck up on the Mongols this week. Ampac and Wheels pulling up the rear. Again, relatively meaningless from a playoff perspective, but always meaningful from a perspective of Hank versus Ralph. So let's see what happens. Go Hank, go Hank. Let's see if you can give the Ampac their fourth loss.
Yeah.
What's that?
Go Wheels.
Yeah.
There you go. And Berto wants the Wheels to win.
Of course.
And that's what we look like, Stick. That's the slate for week 12. And a lot of meaningful games. Should be some good action. Again, don't forget the Steelers were moved to Sunday night.
Well, and I just looked at the site, and it says that game is postponed currently with the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game. So we'll see what happens there. But it looks to me like that game very well could be delayed beyond this week.
My guess is the latest, as we've seen in previous weeks, they'll push it out till Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And if that doesn't work out, the challenge that they have is I think both teams have already had their bye week.
Yeah,
right.
Well, everybody's had their bye week now.
All right, so the bye weeks are over. Is this it? Was this the last week for bye weeks?
I think so.
No.
Okay.
No, week 13.
Buys, Tampa Bay. I don't know who else, but I know they have a bye in week 13.
Week 13.
Like
they're going to play that Steelers-Ravens game. They will play that game. It may get pushed back. It's it's only postponed because they postponed it from Thursday to Sunday.
Right. The same thing happened with the Bills game.
Yeah, they'll play
a while back where they moved in the Patriots-Denver game. Same thing. They ended up playing the games, and those people they just had to make sure that it didn't turn into an outbreak and that it was isolated. If it turns into an outbreak, it will most certainly get postponed or they'll do something.
Hopefully it's Sunday night and it's no big deal.
Yeah, don't mind that they have zeros put in the score right now. It's meaningless. It's meaningless.
Hey, two things on the schedule. The Senators and Sponge game has got two strong teams, but there's really not huge implications there. The Senators again have locked up the number 1 overall seed. But there is something interesting there. You pointed out Cooper Kupp is not in the Sponge Fisherman lineup yet. On the Senators side, who's not in their lineup is Antonio Brown, in part because they just got locked.
He's been useless. He's not been a very good player.
It's worth noting.
Like I said during the trade, just because he's a big name doesn't mean he's going to be a big time player.
Yeah.
I thought he would make a bigger impact, and it is worth noting that he has not, and he is on the Senators bench.
As he should be.
The game, to me, the game of the week, in terms of being a tight game and one that has huge implications, is the Hams and the Lizards.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a big game. It's meaningful to both teams, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And likewise, we talked a lot about them earlier in the year. We've kind of let them have their, be on the sidelines a little bit as they've snuck up on us. The Steel City Mongols, folks, 6-5, winning their division, playing
Yep.
Giant Killers in a big game this week. We could be talking about the Mongols as a division winner, and I'll be very excited and happy for them very shortly here.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll see is Gronk going to stay in the lineup or not.
Mongols have a solid lineup now.
I'm asking if Gronk is going to stay in or not.
Yeah.
He was useless last week.
No, I wouldn't start Antonio Brown or Gronk. I mean, Brady's looking a little old, guys.
Dude, he had Bledsoe feet last week.
He looked slow and not. It's Tom Brady. I'll give him some slack, but
I think
they don't look great.
I think the Mongols would love to have J.K. Dobbins in their lineup if
Yeah, I know that's a shame that he's part of the COVID problem.
He is.
The thing I like
That's a
about that Brady seems to come back big after he's had a bad game, and they're playing the Chiefs and not the Rams. Much different. So
We'll see.
All right. Hey, Hank, one quick reminder, sort of non-TFFL, but the bet board for this week?
Yes. I will.
I was so disappointed last week.
We got crushed again, I bet.
We got smoked. I have not updated the board today. I'm sorry, I didn't get that done. I will get that out tomorrow morning for lines so that people want to get their lines out. In fact, I'll try and do that here this evening. Yeah, so we'll get.
Okay.
We are so bad at this entire activity. I almost want to quit because
I think I may be winning it with a 500 record in Hanger.
I think you are. I think it's like we have one person who's not losing money, but then it's like the bottom guys now. We were up to like 721. I think one of them won this week. So I think it's like there's now out of 21 picks, 20 of them are wrong. I mean, that's amazing. That's talent.
I think are part of that group, right?
yeah, it's not good. It's not pretty.
Guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't be happier that we do this activity for no money, really. For not really betting, we would just be killed.
Well, it's all Michael. This all stems back to the draft in Las Vegas when Michael was like, "We should just do this every week, just one game, $100." And I'm like, "Dude, you'll get crushed." I was like, "No."
Yeah.
So simple. Yep. All right, guys.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Enjoy your turkey and your cranberry and your apple pies and your stuffing. And do yourself a favor. Take a COVID safe distance walk around in the outside if it's nice.
Yes.
Enjoy yourself with your family, my friend. I hope you all get good family time.
Safe and happy. Enjoy it, everybody.
Yes.
Good luck in a big week 12. Hank, you're going to be in the same location next week, right?
No. Next Wednesday night, I will hopefully be back in Falls Church, Virginia.
Hey, enjoy Bulls Bay.
Thank you. Yes, I will. That, in fact, we were talking about that earlier. Berkman, yes, such a nice hookup to have that set up from your brother-in-law. What a treat! So we get to go.
You're gonna love the course. It's a fun one.
Tell everybody what you're doing real quick.
So we're down in Wilmington now, and I am leaving Saturday morning to drive to Charleston, where I will meet up with Ian and another friend of ours and my dad, who's driving up from Florida, and we will have 4 days of golf down in Charleston, and then back to DC on Wednesday.
Sounds like a great trip. Have fun.
Not bad. Yeah, not totally bad. So.
Right, and he's getting to play my brother-in-law's course, who manages
the
pre-show.
Well, it was
private.
Ian says offhandedly, he's like, "Hey, there's this new course that apparently is amazing, And I looked at it, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a second, I think Berkman's brother-in-law might be the pro there because you had said something, or I'd seen Steve's email address or something. Mm-hmm. And in fact, we will be playing this fantastic golf course thanks to Steve Salatan.
That's great.
Yes.
Right on.
So
enjoy. It's a great course. There's actually
wait.
2.
But we're only there for 1 year, but we'll enjoy it amazingly, and so looking forward.
All right. So
Tell Steven I said hi.
Yes.
3 of us on the panel here competing for playoff spots. Chief, one of our other normal panelists, also in the fight. Hank fighting for the number 1 overall pick. A lot on the line here. Again, every week is a big week, but they get bigger and bigger. 2 weeks to go in our regular season. How many games do we have tomorrow now that the Steelers and Ravens is postponed?
Just 2 now.
Okay. It's
12
still-
o'clock and 4 something, which
Mhm.
actually that used to be just the normal. We didn't
That
used
was
to have
always
3.
the normal.
That's fine. So we got multiple games tomorrow to kick off Week 12. Good luck to everybody. We'll probably be back.
Oh. FA priority picks in by 9 a.m. tomorrow, peoples.
Mm-hmm.
All
right.
And again, I think we'll probably be back on our normal night Thursday next week to look ahead to our final week of the regular season.
Right
in the
on.
meantime, have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Take care.
Cheers,
Good
everybody.
night.
Thankful for the TFFL.
Yes, indeed.
No,